Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Jason Hunt here, inviting you to join us every Saturday morning for news, the week's headlines in science fiction, fantasy, horror, comic books, video games, plus Comic-Con updates and the weather, and the occasional interview along the way. We call it Good Morning Multiverse. We hope you join us every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, right here on Sci-Fi for Me TV.
America's southern border has become a war zone. Human traffickers, drug smugglers, and terrorists flow across the Rio Grande with impunity, secure in the knowledge that no one will stop them. A distant federal government lectures Americans on their privilege while punishing overworked Border Patrol agents who were helpless to stem the tidal wave of invaders and determined migrants. Second-generation Cuban-American Marcos Zamora is a military vet, more patriotic than most Americans. No longer able to ignore the chaos at his doorstep, he acts. Joined by his best friend Gus, they hit the border every night, saving lives while stopping violent drug cartels and other opportunists. The government reacts with fury at Marcos' attempts to preserve American sovereignty, deploying the full might of their enforcement agencies. But Marcos understands that the only thing the rich and powerful fear is bad publicity, and he records every encounter. Whoever he is, this private American must be stopped. Illustrated by Richard Bonk and written by Eisner winner Mike Barron, Private American is his version of Captain America, and maybe a little Punisher, taking part in this ongoing, violent, and very real battle of good versus evil in the war for American sovereignty. Grab your copy at theprivateamerican.com.
We have a secure border, and that is a priority for our administration.
Come get some.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Gatti.
Hello, hello.
We have a slow. What, is it midnight where you are, Michael? I mean,
No, I just don't have natural lighting in my room.
it's sitting in the dark there.
Yeah.
I know how it
The
is.
TV's the only my light, my only light source.
Yeah, I've bought so many lights. I'm sitting on a shelf. Well, not on a shelf. I'm in front of a shelf. The shelf has become my workstation. So I'm like,
And if I use my camera light, it just gives me a light screen.
You know what I used to do, and I'm even doing it now by accident. My second monitor is a large monitor for the laptop, and I would just open up Notepad and maximize it. And I just had this big white light that would come in. It wasn't super bright, but it was better than nothing at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got lamps that I've clamped overhead here. I've got a side lamp. I've got another side lamp. I just keep finding these cheap lamps that are built on clamps. That way I can just attach them to the sides of the shelf here. That's not a light. That's my speeding ticket. That's there so I don't forget it.
Right.
Because I remember it before they remember it. So back to the crowdfunding well again.
Yeah, a little spur of the moment too. My reasoning for this, because I'm sure everyone's like, "What? Why are you doing this? Nobody knows you're crowdfunding. That all of a sudden you're crowdfunding." Well,
yeah,
it's basically
kind of sprung on everybody.
Yeah, I did, and I apologize, but basically my reasoning is I was originally planning winter, but I'm like, you know what? I don't know if winter is a good idea right now because the cost of heating is going to be skyrocketing, and people are going to be recovering from the holidays and then also struggling to pay their heating bills. So kind of a double whammy there. So I'm like, I don't know if people will even be willing to really take out their wallets in like February, March.
It's there's never really a best time, I don't think. I mean, you launch in late October, go through November, you're trying to compete for Christmas shopping money now.
Yeah. And I mean, that's probably the struggle as well. It's probably like, well, probably not any better, maybe not too much better than the aftermath of the holidays. But I kind of panicked and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'll try to go for the minimum. I mean, I've raised $500 before, so I think I could do it again.
Yeah. And you're at $45 right now. The last time I looked at the page here, and folks in the chat, as you're watching this, the link to Earth's Best Friends Book 4 is right below the video. You can click on it right now and you can see what it is we're talking about. And in fact, I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up on the screen now.
Sounds good.
To do that, I've got to get rid of the funny papers because it won't look right. And I didn't mean to get rid of you. I meant to click over here.
That's all right.
That's all me. So yeah, here's the campaign. And I'll be honest with you, Michael. It kind of looks like you kind of got in a rush to put it together here.
A little.
You don't even have a thumbnail on your YouTube video, man. You're starting right there with the countdown that was in it.
Yeah, there's definitely some things I gotta keep on updating. I gotta get on my computer and actually fix a few things, but
we need some graphics.
I originally didn't have a video, so I did manage to get that in there at least. Because I actually made that video basically, I mean, we don't have to watch it because it's actually like 20 minutes long.
we could play it and just walk away and come back.
Right. I'll explain everything. I did it kind of in a podcast form. I basically made a podcast episode and kind of just made it my video. Just because, folks are like, all the advice is, well, campaigns that have a video do 80% better. So it's like, all right, I guess I'll put a video in there, at least as a placeholder for now. It's kind of like, there's a lot of things that are placeholders right now. It's like, sorry, under construction. Please excuse my appearance. I'm currently under construction.
Do you remember when websites used to look like that? You'd go to some website and it'd be like a little guy with a shovel. I'm like, it's been forever since I've seen a website under construction. They're always
right. I don't think it happens anymore.
They just launch. I say that it was like we've had a website for 8 years now, and I do remember 8 years ago I launched the it's a content management system, and the day you launch, you generally have no content.
Right.
Just got it up there. So I had the same thing. I had the little red curtains, and it's like coming soon, and it was like
yes, exactly.
That was so. I guess it's still a thing. Chat is active. We've got
all right.
Woody's out here in the chat waving at us.
Hey, Woody.
Pops is out here.
Hey, Pops.
BAP2 is also in here. BAP2, haven't seen you in a coon's age, as they say out here in the sticks. I did see you the other night, but it has been a gap in your attendance. We have missed you. I hope all is well there. So this is the fourth issue of, now it's Earth's Best Friends, which is not the name of the team.
Right. I mean, it kind of will be. It's kind of like if we started off naming Spider-Man and X-Men and Avengers, and then you go through the story, it's kind of like that. And then finally you get to Avengers. So I mean, eventually there is like that roll credits moment where it's like we're the Earth's best friends, and all of them are together and stuff. But
okay.
It's basically just the title of the series for now. Because the hero factions are, we have the Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes, Ninja Heroes, you know, the Ninja Turtles syllables there. We have the Animal Teens. We have Super Steak, which seems to be a crowd favorite. And then we have the Tween Titans, which is they're teased in the last volume, but now we're going to actually have 2 episodes or 2 stories with them in it. So that's going to be pretty exciting, and those are the factions for now. There'll be more to come, you know, as I do this and stuff, but that's all I have right now. It's an anthology, so it's cool. I get to kind of write a whole bunch of different stories for different superheroes and stuff, and they eventually come together. But sometimes there's some crossovers here and there.
Is it easier writing shorter stories than having to fill up 22 pages of the Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes?
I think so. And I mean, sometimes I do end up writing like a full 20 pages for some episodes, like the crossover episode that I have between the Tween Titans and Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes. I think that ends up being like almost 20 pages. So I do have like bigger, because I mean, on average, I think a story is about maybe 9, 10, 11 pages, give or take, depending on the story.
Half the book, at least.
But you know, it's meant to be a little more digestible, a little more, you know, for, you know, because just, you know, mostly my demographics are kids, so they're going to be the ones that are kind of reading this. So it's a little more, it's meant to be a little more piecemeal, you know, fun little episodettes, if you will. Kind of like if you're watching like an 8-minute episode of your favorite Saturday morning cartoon, you know.
Hold their attention for about as long as it will last, I guess.
Exactly. You know.
Mike Walters in the chat remembers you, probably from Twitter, where I think your handle there is still Earth's Best Entertainment, right?
Yes, Earth's Best Entertainment, or EB, they call me.
So what has been the reception so far? I mean, there's 4 issues in and you're still doing it. So either you're slow to learn or you're doing well.
I've learned a lot, and I'm still learning. I'm still kind of making things up as I go along, because originally I was calling them like it was like I had book 1, book 2, book 3, and then I turned that into volume 1. And then I was originally calling them chapters, and I was originally calling them episodes, and now I'm just calling them stories, because it's like, all right. So that way it's not, because what I realize is I may have unintentionally created like a timeline. Well, it's like, if this is chapter 1, then chronologically it happens before chapter 2 and 3, right? But it's not necessarily the case, because Animal Teens may take place sometimes during an episode of Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes, and sometimes way after, sometimes a little before. So chapter 2 doesn't really mean the second in the timeline. It just means it's the next chapter. So that's why I'm like, I'm just going to go with stories, and that way putting it all together is a lot easier for me too, because I'm like, all right, which one is chapter 11? Which one is chapter 12? Like what? You know?
And I think you
confuse
actually
myself on a daily basis with this anthology.
you know, get a whiteboard and draw the lines out. And
Yeah, I really need one, honestly, and that's why I'm trying to simplify things the best I can. You know, I didn't listen to that Navy or Army acronym. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS.
Yes. Yes.
Hey,
Super
Greg.
Snake is in the house. Yes, he is. And
Yes.
this is where Mike knows you from. You're sub to his YT channel. So
Yep.
So you were there for the niche news Monday through Thursday and the historical comic retrospective on Fridays, where sometimes I even show up and lend a voice to the 4-color characters there.
Yep.
I said slow to learn early. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said stubborn. It's like it's either doing well or he's just not going to quit. Either one is a good quality that way.
Exactly. And so now with book 4, it's basically book 4 is the first part of what's going to be eventually volume 2. So basically my plan is I'll crowdfund the individual like issues or books, whatever you want to call them. And basically when I actually go to cons, what I'll sell is only the volumes. Just to keep it more simplified, because I remember when I was at the convention last year, people were almost it was like a minute and a half of a spiel to kind of say, all right, this is book 1, this is book 2, yada 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 yada. So if I have just one volume, but then the problem I ran into at the con this year was having only one product on the table makes it seem like you're not that exciting.
Been there, done that. Yeah, the more product you get, the more it looks like, oh, this guy's been around. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So it was like I solved one problem and created another.
Well, you're creating better problems. And I do remember the last time you showed the intersection of the stories, because I think there was a scene in the Hyper Feline Ninja Hero story where there was a kid in the crowd. You're like,
yes,
he's important because in the next story he's like watching this from his perspective, and he's one of the animal heroes.
And he ends up so he's in the background and then he's in the foreground. So and then that's why I want to stop the unintentional implication that it, because it's chapter 2, it takes place after chapter 1, but really they're taking place simultaneously. So in the updated versions of my volume 1 now, I took out the numbers on the chapters and just put it. And now in my credits pages, I actually have that little graphic right there. You see it says Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes. I created that graphic all by myself. I'm so proud. And so now that shows in the credits page, instead of chapter 1, Tornado Trouble, it just says Tornado Trouble.
There you go. So let's look at some of the tiers you got here, if I can find it.
Yeah.
Your not featured tier, it's just the top tier.
So EBF Essentials is kind of like, it's like, hey, if you want, if you don't want to pay $25 for a full-fledged book, I can give you a digital taste of the book. Even if you don't want to pay a full $8 for the full digital book, it's like I can give you a little taste of what the Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes is about, or what the Animal Teens are about. This tier kind of takes both of those, and it's like you get the essentials. There's no credits pages. There's no there's no holiday specials. It's just full. It's just the story of the heroes themselves.
Okay. Is there a cover?
Bells and whistles. Yeah, it's kind of the cover. It's probably what I'll be going with. For this crowdfunding campaign only, it's going to be a floppy. It's actually going to be a physical floppy. So for anyone out there who likes to collect, rare comics, whatever, this would be a one-time print only kind of thing, where I would print these and send them out to you, rather than just otherwise it's normally just a digital.
Okay, so this was a digital before, and you're actually printing it.
And I'm actually printing it for this campaign. Yes.
Okay, so for $3 for a printed book, I mean, how many pages is that? That's without the ads, without special.
That should be around, I want to say 48, maybe. Yeah.
Whoa, wait, what? I was going to say 11.
Well, it's all the hyper feline ninja heroes and the two Animal Teen stories all together. So I think that comes, yeah, about that, give or take. It was probably the same amount as what like book one was, which was around like 40, 50 pages.
Okay, so that explains why there's only 20 of them available. But
Yes, yeah. So it's a limited engagement, and yeah, and I'm probably way undershooting myself on the price there.
yeah, I'd say so, folks. Zero claimed right now.
Yeah.
Somebody get in there and claim one of these, and then he can't take it back.
Yes, exactly.
Right now, he can change his mind.
I might have to change my mind on the price. I might have to make it a $10 tier. We'll see.
But right now, it's $3, which is a crazy low price for an $8 for a 40-page book, 40
Yep.
40 plus page book. Then you got the usual, hey, $5 for a cup of coffee. That basically
Yep.
Support the book.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't really need any more books, but I want you to make this thing. So here you go.
Exactly.
$20, you can get an interior ad.
Yep.
Is that full page?
Yeah, it would be a full page of my book. So when I did volume one, I offered for free to a few creator friends, and folks love looking at the ads. So it'll be in book four. So it'll be just a 6x9 page. Just whatever you want to advertise. Obviously, if your comic is rated M for mature or something, I might have to say. You can advertise, but let's not put any of the TNA in it.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't find Human Hunters advertised in Casper.
Right, exactly. And I mean, you might go to see a Marvel movie and you might see an R-rated movie with previews in the previews, but you definitely won't see any splatter and gore and stuff.
Yeah, the preview's not R-rated. The following preview has been approved for all audiences.
It's been approved, exactly. So we'd have to discuss it if you're not exactly in my demographics.
Yeah, and it's a PNG file. I've got a TIFF file for the ads that I send to Alterna. I'll have to
yeah, because they do like the CBYK or whatever it is, the TIFF. But no, I like to work in ping, just full color ping. Or PNG. I don't know. I call them pings. I don't know if that's a thing, but
I've always just called it PNG, but then I still say GIF. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, and that goes back to when they were first out. I know it's graphics interface format, so it's a hard G. But back in the days of World War IV and the other BBSs, yes. Right. BBS system that you dialed up. The one of the taglines that used to go around was "Choosy perverts choose GIF."
Oh, geez.
because that's what the internet was for. Was exchanging SVGA high res.
No, I know that's true.
Photos. How little did we realize where we were headed?
Right.
You should stop here and turn back right now.
Yeah.
So this is here the new book now. The stuff we've looked at before, this was this is previously done stuff.
Yep. So that's still volume one. So that's the previous book as well. It's just all the bells and whistles, the full-fledged volume one that I have so far.
Okay, not the scaled down one.
Yeah, not the scaled down. Basically, Essentials is kind of scaled down from what that is. That's all the bells and whistles, the non-canon holiday specials, all of it, the ads,
Yes, and we were talking about Prawn, definitely.
Prawn, yeah, yep.
Yeah, man, I remember some of that fuzzy-looking photos that would get passed around the boards.
Yep.
Is that what
you'd go?
It was almost like trying to tune in the adult channels when you didn't pay for them. It's like little hazy,
right? Like pay-per-view or Cinemax or something. You sometimes it come in clear, sort of clear enough to see a boob or something.
Oh yeah, and that's how far it's so much better now.
Yes.
This is the new one. This is it. This is the.
So that's
no, it's not. It's still not the new one.
That's the Shane variant cover of the old one. Yeah, sorry.
That'd be this guy.
That's Shane. That's him. That's Shane. That's him right there. That did the book. Did that cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so I have
you know what you're gonna have
two
to do.
versions of Volume 1 plus the essentials. Yeah.
You're gonna need to put all those tiers over here on the left in the big section with text and with the cover images, because you know these get squished, and it's a little hard to
Yeah,
really
I don't know how
appreciate.
to, it was like I've never done Indiegogo before, and they have some weird formats to put pictures in, so they end up getting squished and
Yeah, I mean they do tell you what the size is before you upload it,
yeah.
so
But
you know
it's
you
like,
want to
oh, okay,
trim
it's
and
gonna
stuff.
squish my picture because I run everything in 6:9, so it's like if they want this to be like 3:4, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they want it to be upright like a comic book, and you're doing it sideways like a
Oh
landscape.
yeah.
But they're both you know books that are already printed. I would go ahead
Yep.
and venture.
So
So
those
they're
would be
in
sent
stock.
out to you pretty much immediately
So
if you
so
do
even though
those
it
tiers.
says even though it says March 2023, they're done.
Oh yeah, that's a typo. I'll have to change that because those guys should be those guys can ship right away.
Okay. Well, change it while you can, because like I said, as
Yes.
soon as
Oh
Indiegogo's
yeah,
the
that's
way
right.
that if you they'll lock it at that
Then I
point.
would have to put in the description, not actually shipping 2023. It's shipping right away.
I think you can actually
There's the book 4 right there. The actual book.
I think you can actually change the ship date, because I've seen too many of them where it's like the original ship date has a line through it, and then there's a new
Oh,
ship date.
all right. Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, here we are, book
There
4.
it is. Book 4.
Softcover.
Yes.
Now, don't get confused, folks. I know this was volume 1, but volume 1 and book 4, you didn't
Yes.
miss anything.
Yes,
Volume 1 is
because
books 1, 2,
volume
and
1
3.
is book 1, 2, and 3 put together.
So here we
And
go.
then
This
book
is
4.
one of the hyper feline ninja heroes here, I believe.
Yeah.
Or she
Well,
one of the animal heroes.
that's Jamie, one of the animal teens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Animal teens. I keep saying animal heroes.
teens,
That's not right.
Yep. And yeah, I mean that panel is from a page that from a story called Going Ape, and when as soon as I saw that panel, I was like, this is the cover for book 4. This is it. And but now I got Shane and Gabriel Nissi, who's my character designer. They're both making some covers for me, so this is probably just a placeholder for now because their covers are going to be much cooler than that.
So this is going to have several different stories in it. I mean, we got
Yep.
Lexter Forever. Now who's
So
Anubis? The name I get.
Lexter was a bad guy in the Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes in Volume 1. So it kind of gives him like a backstory, like how he met Anubis and how he got his powers and stuff. It's kind of, I guess it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's kind of a trope in comics right now, where like villains are being made a little more humanized, and
Yes.
but I don't do that to all my villains. I just did it to Lexter because it's kind of like, it's like, well, he wasn't just a construction worker before he met Anubis and was paid a substantial amount of money to crash a children's Halloween party.
And Anubis is sort of your Mum Ra, your Hordak, your Skeletor.
Yes, he's like my Dr. Claw or my Shredder or my Rita Repulsa, you know.
Yeah.
Or
always out there causing trouble.
He's always like, blast you Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes.
I'll get you next time.
Yes, exactly. So one of his plans is, all right, well, it's like, all right, Lexter found the Eye of Ra for me. So now I'm going to have him use the Eye of Ra, bust in on that Halloween party that those Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes are having, and I'll have him kill them.
Okay, well, at least he's, got higher plans than just like, steal the candy or
right. Yes, I mean, even though it is a all ages book, I do kind of make things a little dark sometimes. Like there is like an overarching storyline with the government that's actually kind of on the darker side. It's like this almost this dystopian future that everyone lives in. So like the government kind of owns everything. It's called Miracore. And so even though this is an all ages book, it does have some dark themes from time to time and stuff. But I do try to make, no matter what, even in the darker themes, I make it as fun as possible. It's dark and fun.
Yeah. Now
Like the Addams Family.
I like the Addams Family. That will work. We had talked last time how almost, I want to say almost all the heroes are heroes because they turn into some kind of superpowered animal.
Yes, with
I
the
don't think
exception of
that's
Super
true
Steak
of
at the
Super
moment.
Snake.
Yeah.
Super Snake is just
he's just a guy who has superpowers. It's pretty much given to him by an angel. Long story short, and but his thing, and I probably said this to you before, but his thing is he's so powerful that you know, and writers struggle. You struggle when you have a character that's overpowered to try to not use him and save the day all the time. I think that's kind of why they decided to make the Hulk Professor Hulk in the MCU at this point. It's like, well, we can't keep having a Deus Ex Machina Hulk, you know, we got to kind of do something else. So, but I do feel like they did Hulk wrong either way. But I understand the idea behind it, at least, you know, it's like, well, we can't keep having him win the day for us, you know. And the reason why Captain Marvel just kind of came in at the end of Endgame, right? It's like, she's so powerful, she could have ended that whole thing right away, you know? So I came up with an idea for Super Snake. It's like, yes, he's super powerful. He's basically on Superman levels of power. He can fly. He has these, he could take out his eyeballs and use them as sticky bombs. I know it's weird, but
yeah, just a little bit.
Now, bombs in a Warner Brothers cartoon kind of way, nobody actually dies from a bomb. It's just, you know, they get really darkened.
Yeah, okay. They get charred and sooty.
Yes. So again, dark and fun.
Okay.
But yeah, so I came up with this idea where it's like, well, he may be super powerful, but his thing is he only defends the middle school. So he's not going out into the city and fighting crime or stopping anything that's happening in the city. So like, once the hyper feeling ninja heroes meet Super Steak, and then they run into like another bad guy, it's not like it's the fans won't be able to say, well, why doesn't Super Steak come in and just stop it? Well, it's like, well, no, he's not going to do that because he doesn't want to do anything but defend his middle school.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, that's true in like all the in the comic book universes.
Yeah,
you'll have Batman fight amazing.
What is happening, right? Where are the Avengers while the Green Goblin's terrorizing the city and killing people, and Spider-Man's having a hard time fighting him, right?
Yeah, especially New York. You know, that's crawling with superheroes.
Right. It's a hub for superheroes, especially Iron Man. I mean, you'd think Iron Man would have been around there when Gwen Stacy's got her neck snapped, you know? You think he would have been able to fly in and stop it?
Yeah, any one of them. There's stuff going down on the bridge. We should go out. It's almost like they're just watching TV and they're like, Spider-Man's got it.
Spider-Man's got it. He's only been a hero for like 5 days, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. None of them look at, you know, the fights going on and says, oh, that looks serious. Oh shit, it's Spider-Man. I better go help. You know, last night he fought this guy, somebody died.
That would be a comic I'd love to read, where it's like nobody has faith in Spider-Man and all the heroes are always saying, Spider-Man, we got this, go away.
Yes. Let us help you
awesome.
with this. we got this. But yeah, you know, Batman fights like Amazo level characters in Gotham, and when he could just get on the phone and said, Clark, I got one for you. And just
exactly.
You know, go on and stop the next bank robbery, which is what he's good
that's
for.
That's the big plot hole with connected universes, I guess you could say. But I at least try to fill in that plot hole with some logic.
Oh, well, and it can be, you know, silly logic. I mean, crying out loud, the guy's name is Super Steak.
Yes, exactly. It's Super Steak, but he's not a flying piece of steak.
Yeah, he just calls himself that for it.
He calls himself that. Yep. And then we got a back cover ad. As I basically took a page out of the Alterna book, crowdfunding campaign, and I was like, oh, he sells ads. Maybe I'll try to do that.
Yeah. I bought the back cover ad before from Alterna. I bought the interior pages. I'm kind of up and down on which is better, because it's like the back cover ad, once you bag it, no one's ever going to see it because, you know, it's against the backing board. And, you know, you generally don't read the back cover of your comic book, unless you're reading it like a newspaper and somebody else passes by and sees it.
Right. That's
so
true.
the internal ads, I think, are going to be better, because at least then when you read the comic again, you've got to turn
You
past
actually
it.
see the ad in the book. Yeah, that's true. That's
But again, like just like Peter does, the back cover ads are more expensive and more premium.
Yep.
So,
and then we have this confusing combination. You can get volume 1 plus book 4, again, in exclusive printing only to this campaign. I won't be doing this because that's going to cost me an arm and a leg. I know already.
So this is not, here's volume 1 and here's book 4.
Yeah,
this would
be here's volume 1 plus book 4 all together.
Yeah, this is volume 1.3. It's a third of the way to book 2 or volume 2.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, that's not confusing. I get it, but why not just volume 1 and book 4? You just send both separate books.
Yeah, I mean, I could do it that way too, I suppose. I guess I'd have to weigh it out and see which one would cost me more to ship.
Well, forget the shipping. Talk about the printing costs.
Or the printing. That's what I mean.
This is a whole new version.
Because if I printed 100, or that would probably be almost close to a 300-page book at that point. It would be like 82 plus 182, pretty close to 300.
It would be a big book.
Yep. And then a comic books for kids tier. This pretty much, you have the option to donate a copy of the book 1 of the volume 1 plus book 4. That way, you're not just donating a book 4 to the kids and they're kind of confused. They're like, oh, what is this? Where's the beginning of the story here?
Well, I think your Hyper Feline Ninja Hero stories, there is an ongoing storyline, but just like there was with He-Man, the ongoing story is Skeletor is always trying to cause trouble.
Right. I mean, technically there isn't really technically you probably could read book 4 with and not be too confused if you didn't read volume 1. That is true.
Because they're all sort of, self-contained.
Yeah.
Now what is a pass? Season 1 pass.
Season pass. So this, I took a page out of like video game industry. You know how they sell it's like, all right, you could buy a battle pass, and whenever all the DLC comes out, you'll get it right away. You don't pay for it extra. You pay for it all now, basically. So what I'm offering is you pay that $100 every book that comes out from now until the end of season 1, which is at least 3 more years. You'll get that right on your doorstep as soon as I'm able to print them. And I've gone through the process of making sure it looks right and everything.
Okay. So you're going to get book 4, which is this one right now.
Yeah.
In the Essentials volume. And then Earth's Best Friends volume 1 and 2E.
Second edition. So basically I've updated my volume 1 a little bit and changed a few things. Like when I said I took out the numbers and stuff. So I'm calling it second edition.
and then the season 1 pass says, okay, everything that goes through the end of the season, which I think you just says 3 more.
So
books.
every book. So when I do crowdfunding for book 5, you'll already be getting that book when it comes out. Book 6, same thing. Volume 2, same thing. And then if I decide to put it all together as a season 1 book, which they tend to do in Marvel, which is actually what gave me the whole idea. It was like, all right, we'll start off with issues, and then put issues together, put them into books, and then put the books together, put them into volumes, and then put the volumes together and put it into a season.
Yeah, because they started thinking television show all the time. Because that's exactly where they were going. They had season on the brain.
And that's kind of what gave me the idea of doing it that way as well. So basically, every book that comes out in perpetuity will be sent to your doorstep as soon as they're able to print.
Yeah, you got to get this filled out over here. There's a dearth of information here. I'm trying to figure out who bought books, because there's an interior ad claim, but the rest of them don't have any claims on them yet.
Well, the other 2 are basically just donations. They didn't pick a perk.
You say you're getting you're getting caffeinated here, but
basically.
This is this. If you like things like Powerpuff Girls, if you like things like Teen Titans Go, remember Captain Carrot and his Amazing Zoo Crew, things like that. And this is something you're going to want to get a hold of. I would say look at the art here and be sure Michael, you got to get that art in there, man.
Yes, I gotta get that art in
Priority
there.
one.
That is true. I gotta get some. I gotta like I said, it's under construction.
Okay, you got 25 days left, so you've been up for
Yep.
5 days. I'm guessing you're gonna probably go the other 30.
Yeah, I will
Extend that,
definitely.
so.
Especially since I've got some shows that I'll be on in like late December, so I want to extend it so
Yeah.
I can still be crowdfunding at that point. And but yeah, it's great you mentioned Powerpuff Girls because there's a story in book 4 that I literally pretty much took an episode of Powerpuff Girls and made it Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes. It's called BB Vicious, which is based off the episode Bubble Vicious. And BB in Latin actually means bubble.
I did not know that, and I've got 3 years of Latin, so.
At least that's what Google Translate says.
If Google Translate says it's true, then
Probably is, right?
History will be what Google says it is in the next 10 years.
Yeah, that's very true.
Everything.
Oh,
and yeah, your characters, the kids who are the Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes, they're not brothers and sisters, but they are family. They're all one family,
yeah.
right?
Well, they are brothers and sisters. I mean, in real life, they're my kids and their cousins.
That's where I made the crossover.
In the comic, they're siblings. Yeah. So Chloe and Jackson in the comic are, Chloe and Jackson or Rosie and Fury are actually twins. I made them twins, and then Lacey BB is their younger sister, and then Sealy Sky is the youngest of the group.
It's a bit like Power Pack. That's what it reminds me of. You remember that old Marvel series when it was really good?
Power Pack. No.
Oh, you're struggling with Power Pack. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Power Pack was a book in the mid 80s. It was of these 4 kids, same family, middle school on down to I think the youngest one was a kindergartner.
Oh, wow.
And this alien crashed and he was dying, and he gave them, it was his horse-headed alien named Whitey. And he gave them all different powers, and they were in the Marvel universe. I mean, they interacted with Franklin Richards on occasion.
Wow.
It was Louise Simonson was doing the stories on that. It was really, really good. They've allowed the kids to grow up now, and now it's kind of weird.
Oh yeah, I know. Once they grow up, it's but you have to do it eventually.
Yeah, but not in comics. You don't. You don't have to roll in
not
comics,
always, right? You can always just reboot.
Archie hasn't gotten out of high school in 80 years.
That's true.
And he's been to at least 60 proms, and nobody notices.
Yeah, right.
So you don't have to have this hard and fast continuity all the time. You got great characters, keep them that way. We adjust. But yeah, if you get a chance to look up Power Pack, I don't know if there's Marvel Essentials on that one, but yeah, and your kids would love it too because it was written for kids, but it wasn't written down to kids.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's always good.
It was that kind of story, that anybody could pick it up and read it, just like all the other stories at the time. But the kids were more attracted to the book because the characters were kids.
Yeah.
And they acted like real kids. I mean, they weren't. Yeah. Trust me, you'll love it.
It can be tough to write for kids to actually make them feel like kids.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Michael. I don't know what more we can say about Earth's best friends right now. Maybe a little bit further into the campaign, we can talk about it some more. See some more stuff on it.
Especially once I get some edits on that campaign there too.
Yeah, you gotta show. You gotta show how fun this book is.
I could screen share some art if you like.
You can definitely do that.
Yeah,
bring something up here.
So I was doing that for the other show, and okay, yep, I got it up. So I just had I was looking at my thing. Okay. All right. So I've got one story complete that I can show off called Going Ape, and that's an animal teen story. Oh, that's trippy. I always look at that and I'm like, that is trippy. All right. So I'll do the same thing here. So it is showing, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's not the page. That's from chapter 9. Okay, let's go back here. See, volume 2. All right. Yeah, a day in the life. No. Well, I'll show that in a second. Going ape. So, like I said, I've strayed away from calling them chapters now because it's gotten confusing for me to figure out what ones are what here. So now I'm just going by the titles of the show or the episode. And so this takes place in a Halloween party, much like the last story of Volume 1 takes place in that Halloween party where Alexter busts through the wall. And I'll show that in a minute too, just to kind of refresh. But so basically we have TJ here, who is a friend of the Animal Teens. So the dynamic of the Animal Teens group is basically kind of like a Breakfast Club situation. Like Harlan wasn't really friends with any of these guys besides Jamie before he got superpowers, but it was like superpowers that kind of brought them all together. But TJ was kind of like the one that was left out because he didn't have powers yet. However, this episode changes that. So Harlan's jock buddies are picking on him, as you know, most of us. I know I can relate to that. I wasn't a fat kid in school, but I was an awkward, strange kid. So same situation.
Yeah, I've been there.
So they're picking on him, except that's kind of what activates his powers. Through the anxiety of being picked on, he transforms into a mighty ape. And since this is a kid's show, none of them are actually hurt, and you don't even really see any blood. So that's why it's like, yeah, if this were like a PG-13 or M for mature or something, his teeth would be missing. He'd be bleeding. Probably these guys are probably
dead. It looks like,
punching them in the back like that. He'd probably have a broken spine, But
oh yeah.
Because it's a kid's show, it's just ow, my mouth.
Yeah, they get little bluebirds swirling around their heads and stuff.
Exactly. And so basically they notice and they're like, oh my God, what happened? It's like, well, I think TJ met his animal spirit. What are the odds? And then she says, hey, now there's 5 of us. That's more than the Hyperfila Ninja Heroes. I don't know why I'm excited about that. It's just kind of like
she's very competitive.
Right
She's competitive.
Yes, yeah. She's like, yeah, all right. We have more members. Not that it matters, right? But
yeah, no, who's counting?
They're all
really?
looking at her like, what are you talking about? So then basically he's like, all right, well, there isn't going to be a 5th member if we don't find him. So he's like, all right. And she says, well, let's do what we can to search for him. We all passed out when we first transformed, so he couldn't have gone too far. So basically this is like the first taste of Harlan kind of taking the lead of the group. All right, Jamie, fly around the neighborhood and scout. I'll hop to the rooftops. Scott, I need you to check the sewers and ravines and rivers, etc. And Sheila, burrow underground, see if you can cut them off the pass. And so then there's just panels of them doing those things. And then Scott the Otter finds him passed out, of course. He's like, well, it wasn't far from Harlan's house. I found him, guys. And then he kind of transforms back. And he's like, what happened? Congratulations. You have powers like the rest of us. And then here's the roll credits moment. Welcome to our group of Animal Teens, kid. Roll credits. And so, yeah, so that's the name of the series.
That's cool though. I mean, we got a full story out of that.
Yeah,
it was introducing a new character, and yet I didn't have to know everything about the other characters in there. I already knew they're teens who turn into animals.
Exactly. And, like even though it is continuing a story a little bit, it's still pretty self-contained, and it's short and digestible, and it's fun. It goes by kind of quick, but that's why I put a lot of stories into one book, because they go by kind of quick, and you can't print under 24 pages. So
you got to have more pages than 24.
And then there's a little taste of this story called The Day in the Life. And I've introduced this character a little bit in the past, but we get to know her a little more. She's Selena Angui, and she actually transforms into a snake woman, but she's kind of a villain. I kind of make her ambiguous in that kind of sense. I mean, you see her robbing a bank, so you know she's not exactly a good guy, but basically she's narrating her own story. And what's cool about this is there's a story later on that narrates her story, but it's somebody else narrating it. And so it's really cool to kind of see the same points get hit, but from a different point of view.
Yeah.
And so she's just kind of like, so I have it all. I should be happy. My adopted parents are very supportive and loving. They have great government jobs and can afford to indulge my expensive tastes. I mean, she's got something kind of akin to like a Corvette here or something, a very nice sports car, red shiny car. I'm super popular. The girls want to be me. All the boys want to date me, but there's just something wrong with this picture. And then we have our cameo from the Animal Teens, right? Hey, Selena, I was wondering if you'd like to go with me. As if you may be the star quarterback, Harlan Lepus, but you also hang out with the dorks, so that makes you a dork too. And he's like, oh man. Then TJ and Jamie are like supporting him, like, oh, tough break, buddy. And I wish I had
always got us dorks.
What's that?
You've always got us dorks.
Yes, exactly. Well, you got us dorks, welcome to the dork tribe, welcome to rejection. Being popular is not so easy anymore for you. And what's cool about that is there's another story that that actually tackles the aftermath of basically that whole the whole thing when they or actually I don't think I showed that page. Maybe do I not have it in my computer? Oh, yeah, I didn't show the last one. Yeah, so there we go. So this is the last page. Sorry. There's one more page. Hey. So basically he goes up to them, right? And he says, TJ's off limits, along with the rest of my band of merry rejects. You mess with any of them and you mess with me. Got it? Whatever. Just leave me alone. And then, and then we have this little tease of what's going on with the vice president of the world. And it's like basically the fear that Sheila has of the government finding out about their powers is 100% a valid fear. And this kind of shows why. Sir, all 5 of the test subjects have officially gained their powers. This is good news. We can use them to lure Dakra from hiding. That hyena is still costing me money. Wherever you are, I will find you, and you will wish you never ran away from Jack Blade. And that's
Jack
him.
Blade. Oh, that's a manga villain name if I ever heard one.
Yeah, so Jack Blade. So all right. So when I was a kid, I used to play with my action figures, and I had this Sonya Blade action figure. And in my own little world, I had this John Smith action figure from Burger King because, I was a kid in the 90s and they had Pocahontas toys in the kids' meal one time. And in my own little world, I made him Jack Blade, the younger brother to Sonya Blade. Now, mind you, I can't use Sonya Blade, so I changed her name to Sandra.
Right.
But that's where that comes from.
I dig it.
Yeah. So that gives us a little tease, and it kind of also makes the fears of Sheila valid. So the government really, but it also implies that the government knew they had powers the whole time.
Which would indicate that maybe the government's kind of behind giving them the powers. And I think you even talked about
yes,
they were all on test.
I may have talked about that. It does tease that the government is behind their powers, and that is absolutely right. We will find that out in book 4, actually. The story that actually narrates Selena's life from the other point of view is exactly that. It's basically the point of view is from that hyena guy Dakra. He's talking about basically how everyone got their powers, including how he became a hyena freak, and how his fellow scientists got transformed, and basically how Selena is a big victim of the government and why she has adopted parents and everything like that. But I won't give too much away. I'd like to actually sell some books, but
Yeah, don't give it all away online.
yeah, but either way, so what we see in another story called It's High School is Harlan dealing with the aftermath of him going up to his jock buddies and saying, "You stay away from my new friends, you know, my dork friends or whatever." And we kind of see we also kind of see that trope of great power comes great responsibility thing, because every single one of them gets in a situation where they like, oh, if only I could use my powers right now, you know.
Yes.
And
I could be a football star if I could just, use my super speed.
exactly. So we see like basically see a slice of life in the daily life of the animal teams, not while they're fighting crime, but while they're not fighting crime. Huh, yeah, that was weird to say. And so I have a lot of cool stories. This book is definitely a lot different than the previous books, because before I was mostly focusing on Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes and Saturday morning cartoon kind of style of, the formulaic kind of thing. But now I'm kind of getting into these like little bits. I mean, I do have my Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes. There's one I'm calling Two Tweens, a Duck, and the Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes, which is a reference to two guys, a girl, in a pizza place. At least the title is, not anything else. And it's a crossover between the Tween Titans, which I'll have to show who they are now.
Yeah, that's a new group now.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are in volume 1, but it's a very short cameo. Yeah, it's right here. These two girls, Zoe and Phoenix, are what I'm calling the Tween Titans, which I don't know if DC owns that. I might have to change that, but I did a Google search to see if DC had a comic called Tween Titans, and it seems like maybe they have a cartoon with that name, or at least a reference to that name. So I don't know if it's copyright infringement or not.
I doubt you can't copyright a title.
No, you can't. That's true, right? You could still but as far as like superhero names go, do you think I could use Tween Titans and be okay?
Yeah, because the trademark would be on a book, and if there's no book, then there's no trademark. So gotcha. Technically, if there's no book, no logo, DC, we covered this last week. DC could technically put out a book called Arachnid Tales with Spider-Man in it, as long as it's a totally different character and still have the name. They both got Sandman. They both got a saber tooth. To tell you the truth,
that's true. They both have a lot of same named characters. So yeah, I guess I could use it even if they still used it.
Yeah, but they just can't put out a Marvel can't do a Sandman series and put a logo with a registered trademark on it. It would have to be Marvel's. That's why you see the toys come out like now. They're saying like Marvel's Avengers on the toys for a while.
Yeah. So that way, in case DC ever decided to make a super group called Avengers, it's not the DC Avengers, it's the Marvel
Avengers. And because
Avengers.
there was a series before the book called The Avengers, and they made
it was a British thing, right?
Yeah. So they've got a
secret agents kind of thing.
Yeah, it's Marvel's Avengers. Totally
Avengers. Thing. That way we know it's the comic book.
Longer title.
And so yeah, these girls, we'll see them in two stories. We'll see the one called Tween Titans, which introduces them a little bit more. It actually starts at this point and then tells the story of them going forward, rather than watching Super Steak or Dark Sky tear up the school. And so we have Phoenix and Zoe, and they transform into Sparkle Girl and Ashley. So
wait a second. What are their civilian names again?
Zoe and Phoenix.
Zoe and Phoenix.
Sparkle Girl and Ashley.
Ashley's just another girl's name. What's the deal here?
So this is the idea behind it. Phoenix is such an awesome name to have just as like a regular girl. I thought it would be funny if her superhero name was like just a generic girl's name.
Like, could have called her Susan.
Like Phoenix becomes Ashley. If you were to like do like PJ Masks kind of thing, like Zoe becomes Sparkle Girl, Phoenix becomes Ashley.
That's just weird. It messes with
Yeah,
my head to think that. Like
that's
Bob
my sense
becomes
of humor
Tom.
there again.
Oh,
And
man.
they're based off two friends that my daughter actually has in real life. So their mother actually donated to my Kickstarter campaign the top tier, which allowed you to put yourself in the comic, which is also who this is and who this is. Both of these guys did that as well. But since I knew their mother personally, I was like, hey, would you like me to make characters for Zoe and Phoenix? And she's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. They'd love that. So I came up with this idea for Sparkle Girl and Ashley.
It works. Now, especially if her power is like, flames and she turns things to ashes by burning them.
well, her power is she has this magic pen, and she basically it's one of those powers where I can make it do whatever I want for the time being.
Okay.
Kind of like the way they treat Daredevil's blindness.
Yeah, I'm blind when I need to be, and I can. I'm not so blind other times.
Yeah, exactly. And Sparkle Girl is essentially the same powers as Jubilee. I actually kind of you can't see it there, but I'll show the character design of her. I kind of had my character designer kind of give her like a kind of a way to look. Where is it? Oh, it's probably under other. Yeah, there we go. So I kind of gave her like a similar look to Jubilee. She's got like the rain boots, and yeah. So I kind of told them to kind of make a reference to Jubilee with that.
I like that character.
Then I'll show Phoenix too. Phoenix/Ashley. So when she transforms, her hair turns brunette, and then you see the magic pen there. And Gabriel Nissi did my character designs. He's awesome. I can't wait to see what his cover for me is going to look like, because he was like, hey, I'd like to do a cover for you for free. And I'm like, dude, I love you.
You said that's my favorite price.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I can't wait to see what comes of that. And Ring Boy, well, we don't need to talk about that yet. I have an actual character design. That's just my daughter came up with the initial idea for Ring Boy, and then I had Gabriel Nissi do a real design of it. But she draws okay, right? For a third grader, fourth grader. Yeah, she's in fourth grade now, but she drew that when she was in third.
Yeah, I've got some of my son's old graphic novels.
Talent for sure. But yeah, so it's pretty exciting. And then to kind of talk about the Lexter busting in through the wall here. I think that was this one. So here we have this one here. Yeah. So we have a story. Lexter Forever is the one that kind of explains how he got here. And where he got that stone that's wrapped around his neck. and
he didn't transform into anything. He just was strong. There he goes.
He transforms into a dragon. Behold, my Dragon Lord power. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse. Yeah, so I like fourth wall breaks. And this is the last story of volume 1 before you see like the holiday specials. So this is like the last story of the canon, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So this is the Halloween party that's taking place simultaneously to Going Ape. When we see Going Ape, this is happening while Going Ape is happening. Two different parts of the city.
I like that though, that there's two stories happening in the same setting at the same time, and kids can parallel that out in their heads.
Exactly.
We left the party and chased, our friend. And while we were gone, a dragon attacked.
Yeah. Then meanwhile, at the S. Lee Elementary School,
yes,
I was told I shouldn't use his full name. So I just say S. Lee Elementary, S. Ditko J Kirby Middle School and S Ditko High.
I sense some influences here.
Yeah, just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
My three favorite Marvel guys, you know.
Sure.
Well, that, and I probably couldn't name too many others by name. I mean, there's Bendis, I guess, but yeah. Well, you know, I mentioned him, and I know like there's a lot of like backlash like involving him, I guess, but I fell in love with Ultimate Spider-Man because of him. Like,
Oh yeah.
The first comic book I actually started reading to read, because I had comics before, but once I saw the Tobey Maguire movies, that was when I kind of got obsessed with Spider-Man. I wanted everything Spider-Man, and I was like, I don't even know how to get into comics. So I bought a volume of Ultimate Spider-Man, and I was hooked, man.
Yeah. Now that was the Ultimate Spider-Man. Everyone thinks Ultimate Spider-Man is Miles Morales because that's who it is now. But
well,
when it
that's
started
because
out, it was still Peter Parker again.
it was Peter Parker's. Miles Morales came from Ultimate Spider-Man, and basically what happened was Peter Parker died, and Miles Morales took over essentially. And then I guess Miles Morales was such a hit that they took him from the Ultimate Spider-Man world and put him in the canon Marvel world, because Ultimate Spider-Man was like this universe that was kind of like off to the side, I guess you could say, you know. I guess the idea behind Ultimate, I'm sure you're aware, but I just learned this the other day. I guess the idea behind the Ultimate Universe was like, it's way too complicated. Let's bring things back to basics. And so what they did was made things way less complicated within the universe, and actually made it a little more dark, I guess, too.
Well, yeah, the Ultimates was the new name for the Avengers, and that's where, of course, we got the first Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson version, because they made him look intentionally like Samuel L. Jackson.
They did. They had the idea of making Samuel L. Jackson Nick Fury way before he actually became Nick Fury.
Yeah, they're like, we have to cast him in the role now because
right.
already done him in the comic.
It's like, well, I guess because of the Ultimate Universe, we kind of have to make him Nick Fury now. But I mean, I couldn't think of anybody better to play Nick Fury than Sam Jackson. I mean, the old Nick Fury,
not David Hasselhoff.
I couldn't imagine a guy to play that guy besides maybe if it was the 80s, maybe the guy from what is it, Big Trouble in Little China or something.
Little China.
Yeah, maybe that guy could play Nick Fury back in the 80s.
Well, you know, they had Nick Fury in the 80s, right?
They did. Oh.
Yeah.
You know who played him? No.
David Hasselhoff.
Oh, David Hasselhoff played him? Okay,
yes.
I'm going to have to look into that.
Complete with the eye patch. So yeah, there's that's a DVD collection that I would actually love to buy and add to my set. I've only got the one movie, the Captain America movie.
Oh, okay.
But you know, there was a whole bunch of Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man movies.
Man,
there was the Captain America. I do have the there were some Incredible Hulk movies where it was like in the Trial of the Hulk, where Daredevil defended him.
The Lou Ferrigno stuff, right? Or that was Lou Ferrigno, right?
It was Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
He meets Thor in one, and he meets Daredevil in the other. And Daredevil's costume was, he literally had like a black blindfold around his head. And the story was that Stan Lee was like, why is he wearing that blindfold? Well, he can't see. Yes, but he's not supposed to let everybody else know that.
Right. Which is funny because in the Netflix series, he kind of started off wearing a blindfold.
Yeah, he did. Because Frank Miller picked it up and did that in year one. He just kind of blindfolded him as a sort of mask. Like, what do I need eye holes for? They did there was a Doctor Strange movie.
Wow.
It didn't stick very well. Yeah. And of course there was a Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. movie. There was a whole Marvel Cinematic Universe out there to pull from.
They did in the 80s, huh? They had a cinematic universe before, but it was a little more on the cheesy side, a little more on the weird side.
Yeah, and they were all sort of they were made for television movies.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And the coolest thing, that Captain America, is his mask was his motorcycle helmet.
Oh yeah, right.
The wings were on the helmet. And the coolest thing about it was like he'd be riding that motorcycle and he'd flip a switch and it'd just go to silent mode. Like,
Boom.
oh, they cut the sound, but boy, it's cool. And there were no spokes on the tires. It was like this solid metal rim in the motorcycle
cool.
tires. It was white. It was like, I like it. It's cool. I'm 12.
Yeah, right.
My standards were a lot lower.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got to get in the Wayback Machine with me and come back to the 80s, man. You can read Power Pack, watch Spider-Man.
Seriously, that was
Lot
yeah.
of
I
good
mean,
stuff
I was
there.
born in the '80s, so I mean, the only thing I really remember about it was I really don't remember much. My sister being born, that's about it. She was born in '89, February of '89. That's my earliest memory.
Oh man, to have been there the first time around to read the original Secret Wars, that was
Oh
the
God, I
best of
know.
Marvel.
It's too expensive to collect. Otherwise, I'd be totally on that buying those books.
It's not the same reading them in past because the thing that they did, because it was an interconnected universe,
Yeah,
was like every book of the people who were involved that month, they would finish whatever story they were on, and they'd be like, the Spider-Man be like, well, I'm glad Doc Ock is in jail. Boy, that was a hard fight. I better swing on home and check on Aunt May. What's that glow over in Central Park? And you'd turn the page and he'd go be in Central Park and like this big white glow. And he's like, that doesn't look right. And he goes towards it and leaps in and it's over. That's the end of the book. Same with Fantastic Four. Let's fly home. What's that glow over Central Park? They roll into it. And then the very next issue, they didn't wait 12 issues doing Secret Wars and crossing over with all their books. The very next issue, they're back. So, the next issue of Spider-Man, here's Central Park.
He's home and he's got the black suit, right?
He's got the black suit. He's swinging out of this thing that opens up in the sky. The Fantastic Four come out in their book and they don't have the thing with them anymore. They've got She-Hulk. You're like, what happened here? No, they didn't have She-Hulk. Somebody else. But it's like, everything was changed. And you're like, I don't know what happened, but I have to read Secret Wars to find out what I think you know. And boy, did they drive people to, and they don't do that now. They're like, we're going to run an event. It's going to happen in all the different titles at the same time. Nothing's going to change. For a while, everything changed.
Yeah, right.
On another planet, he wasn't rocked up anymore. He'd been reverted to human form.
Wow. Yeah,
it was just cool.
They like to actually experiment with things at one point, and then in the 90s they experimented a little too much and went a little crazy, right?
Well, they experimented with how many abdominal muscles you could draw into one guy.
Yeah, and how big they can make women's tits, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so not everything in the 90s was bad, but
yeah, right.
No, it was all over.
I am in the process of collecting the Spider Clone Saga, which is just not expensive at all to collect.
No, it's not. I mean, if you want to collect it expensively, go back to the days when it was the story of the Jackal, where Peter Parker actually got
the 1970s story, right?
Yeah, because for the people when the Clone Saga came out, initially it was like, oh shit, have we been reading somebody that's not been Peter Parker for the last 15 years?
Yeah, right.
Because there was serious doubt about it. Was the clone that won the fight? Amazing. That would really shake things up. And of course it wasn't. Or was it? We never really figured it out.
Yeah, right.
The writers even knew.
No, well, I guess the story behind that was they didn't know what they were doing. The Clone Saga was not supposed to be 2 years worth of comics. It was supposed to be like two months worth.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, this is popular. Let's keep it going.
let's milk this cow for all we can. What can we do next? How about bringing back Gwen Stacy? Oh yeah, sure. It sounds like a great idea. Just take that pivotal moment that solidifies Spider-Man's angst as a character and just remove it.
And even in Ultimate Spider-Man, they make a reference to that. Like in the beginning, like when they do the Clone Saga in Ultimate Spider-Man, there's like this big, long, full page of text saying, this is the history of the Clone Saga. It was a crazy thing that happened, and we're paying tribute to it, but we're not going to do it as terribly as it was done before.
Oh, man. Oh. Yeah, the Ultimate books were great.
They did an all right job. It was weird. They made Carnage kind of like a clone of Peter Parker / his dad / Gwen Stacy.
Okay.
Yeah, like, well, basically the symbiote in the Ultimate Spider-Man universe was basically, it was a project that Eddie Brock's dad and Peter's dad worked on, and they mysteriously died one day after they told the company they didn't want to make it to a weapon, and so their plane crashed mysteriously.
Of course.
And so what happened was when Eddie Brock showed him the symbiote, that was how we got Venom. It was basically supposed to be a cure for cancer, essentially. But then the whole tale of Venom happens. Spider-Man realizes the thing is actually evil, and he wants to destroy it. Eddie Brock gets a hold of it. He becomes Venom. He basically defeats him. Actually, it's kind of implied that he kills him, like he blows up. But then with the Carnage, it was kind of like, so basically they had this African American guy named Ben Reilly, which is like a reference
clone's name.
Clone of Spider-Man, right? So basically he took some of Peter Parker's blood and took what was left of the symbiote that they had, and that was how we got Carnage. And somehow Carnage had Peter Parker's memories, and it became Gwen Stacy, and everybody was confused why Gwen Stacy was back because she'd been killed. And then when Peter Parker confronts it and realizes it's not really Gwen Stacy, it's like it turns into like a blob, like a Carnage blob. But like then it also pretty much it kind of shows like his father's face in it. And yeah, like they made some very weird decisions in that series, but it was a really good read, at least for the most part. I mean, there were some things that was like, wait, what? Like, and that was one of them. The Carnage thing was like, wait, what? It was like there was no Cletus Cassidy. It was just the blob itself transforming itself into people that Peter Parker knew.
which is even scarier, really. I mean, it's this sort of like an It kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. King. And but he didn't recruit the Fantastic Four or anything to try to defeat Venom or anything. It was just kind of like a straightforward battle, and then that was kind of it.
Yeah. Now the Fantastic Four in the Ultimate Universe, that was kind of weird too, because Reed Richards is a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah, Human Torch was a teenager, and basically my idea, so the inspiration I actually got for Animal Teens a little bit, especially with them being hesitant to use their powers, actually came from a line where the Human Torch, Peter Parker, when he meets the Fantastic Four, he says, well, why don't you guys, you guys have these awesome powers. Why don't you guys publicly fight crime or whatever? And they're like, oh, because of you. Because of all the backlash you get from doing this.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an interesting concept, right? Superhero people with powers that are afraid to use them. And so that was kind of what gave me the idea to make the Animal Teens kind of hesitant to use their powers. And and then it ended up fitting in my world with the evil government and everything like that.
I like it. Yeah, because you'd think you'll get powers and be inspired by another hero, and you're like,
right.
Are you kidding?
And that's what Harlan wants to do, right? He's like, yeah, let's fight crime. And then Sheila and Scott are like, no, we're not doing that. Yeah. We're not doing that because.
Have you read the papers?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, Michael, we're going to let you go here. We made up for some lost time here because you've got a bunch of shows.
Yep, absolutely.
I want to reload this here just to see. Okay, there's nothing new to see, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. It did not go up.
Hopefully,
but it will.
Hopefully it will.
It will. As there becomes more to see on there, people will know what they're putting.
Yes, I gotta. Basically, this I think this Friday I'll be able to. I'll just jump on the computer, and maybe I'll even do it tomorrow. It's tough during the week when I'm like third shift and everything. So.
Oh yeah.
But
weekend to be fine. Just get in there, have some right-sized graphics.
Put some graphics on there and try to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a visual medium, so
yes, exactly.
Use the eyeball there. All right, thank you so much for bringing
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime, bring them again before the campaign's over, and we'll do it all over again. Folks in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us and being here. We don't have a show without you. as always, I like to say while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.